to my podcast. Evening or afternoon, everybody. This is a podcast about grief and learning how to deal with it for myself. Probably about coming up to 3 years now, we lost our little boy. And I found I didn't know how to deal with everything, the grief, the pain, and everything that it came with. And it was hard to understand. I'm a husband, a father, a son, and a brother. And the hardest thing I found was trying to understand what happened. My little boy had a heart defect, so he was born. When he passed away, I got the chance to hold him for a couple of hours with my wife in the hospital, and those moments we cherished. But what I found was it was hard, and it's been hard for the last 3 years, and I think I've never grieved. I've just kind of put it at the back of my head to keep moving and just doing stuff. And ultimately, it plays a big role in your relationship with your partner, wife, kids, and everything else, because I couldn't understand how to deal with it. My idea to deal with it was to kind of just shut down, which wasn't probably the best way. And as I'm learning now, through therapy, counseling, that there's better ways to deal with it. I didn't find that there was any help I could go out there for men. You got mums, you got my Mum's Net, they give you information and stuff. I just didn't see anything for men. And you couldn't just talk, for me, I couldn't talk about my feelings, so it was hard. I struggled quite a lot, and I still struggle to this day, because at the end of the day, I still miss my boy. Next month will be his 3-year anniversary since he passed away, and it's just trying to deal with everything. But I think it's trying to process it myself and understand where I need to be today, and the effect it's had on me, because realistically, I've made wrong decisions. I've pushed people away, family, friends, most of all my wife. I've pushed her away, and we didn't talk about it, we didn't grieve together. So ultimately, it just caused that divide between us, which was quite hard. And even to this day, was still trying to recover from it. And who knows, we might do, we might not. But understanding grief and what it does to you, it's a big thing. And I think sometimes we don't. As a man, I just couldn't understand it. I just couldn't talk about my feelings. Just not the thing you do, which you just kind of talk about your feelings, and I just couldn't talk about my feelings, so it was quite hard. And even like I say, even to this day, I still find it hard. But with the counselling and everything else, I can start to process stuff and start to understand stuff a little bit more, and get that help that I need. And there's good and bad days. There's days where I feel good. There's days where little things, I might take my little boy or the boys to the park, and we might be doing something, and then I think, oh, their little brother would have been here kicking a ball with them. And it's affected everyone in different ways. Obviously, it affects my wife differently because she carried him. So the effect and her grieving is a different process to mine. And I'm still trying to, even with my kids, my younger one sometimes has days where he's like, I miss my little brother. and that gets to me. I tear up a bit, and I'm like, you know, but it's a process that you keep. I don't know how it gets better. I think maybe through, like I said, having counselling, it might help me a bit more in time. And now I've started a process. After 2-3 years now, I've started the process of having counselling first time. So, you know, I'm hoping that process is now started with me. I can start to let go, and I can start to understand, because I struggled a lot to understand why us, because we've got 2 beautiful boys who are fine, and then I've got a first boy who's great. And when we got the news, we were like, well, why us? I couldn't process it. It took me a long time to process, and then you have to make decisions. Well, if certain things happen, how do you deal with them? And ultimately, you have to make those decisions for yourself, for your family, first of all, and make sure you're making the right decision. But it was one of the hardest things. And to this day, I sit back and think, did I make the right choice? You know, and it's really hard, and I doubt certain things every day. That plays on my mind regarding my son. And how do I deal with it all, and how do I carry on this process? Because it's a hard process, and you know, next month I'm not looking forward to that. And like I said to my wife, what do we do for his anniversary? Last year we made some balloons, we wrote under messages, me and the boys, and we let them go. And that was really nice. It was something from the heart. The boys enjoyed it. They wrote messages to their brother, and it was good. But also I have to now understand that my younger one, when we go to celebrate his brother's life, what effect is that going to have on him? Because all the memories that he's going to bring back for him. So there's all those things I need to think about. And me and my wife have got to think about those stuff, because it's just not affecting us. It's affecting our boys as well, because they miss their brother. And there's that point of me putting my stuff aside and for that day, and just feel like the blessing that we got, you know, and things happen for a reason. And that's how I got to look at it, that things have happened for a reason. How do I get past this? Some days are a struggle, and some days are good. But ultimately, I think, what do I do? How do I, you know, go on this journey? Because it's a journey that I've just started. Understanding the grief that I'm going through. How do I deal with it? How do I make sure it doesn't affect me in the long run, like I've made it done in the last nearly 2 and a bit years now with my family, you know? And how do I support and try and support my wife through this? And did I support her enough the first time? Which I don't think I did, which I made mistakes because I didn't understand how to deal with my own grief and trying to deal with hers as well. And just looking at her upset, I just didn't know what to do, and made the wrong choices and the wrong decisions on how to handle it, thinking I was handling it the right way. But actually, I wasn't handling it the right way. I just made a mess of it and put that divide between us, where she was upset with me and certain feelings that she had, and still probably have to this day, towards me. But I never thought about it that way. I was just trying to deal with me, how I felt, how I could help the family. But I actually never dealt with my grief, which was the biggest part of it all. Was I needed to deal with me first before I could help anyone else, because I just picked it up and put it in a box and put it to the back of my head and was like, okay, this is what I've got to do. But actually, I didn't get it right. And I think as a man, we just don't know when to get that help or what to do, because we are so, in our mind, so trained that we've got to fix everything. But is that the right way? Who knows? But all I can do is try to just, whatever feelings come to me, I'm going to have my good days, I'm going to have my bad days, which I do. But it's just keep pushing and keep understanding that, yes, things are going to come up. I'm going to see things. I'm going to look at a picture. I'm going to be out in the park or doing stuff. And those memories are going to come up. Or I'm going to look and think, that could have been our little boy. And I know I have those feelings. I also know my wife has those feelings, because she reminded me, actually, it's not just I have those feelings, she has those feelings. And I have to take into consideration what she's feeling and how she's dealt with it. Like I said, for her, it was a little bit more easier because there was so many groups that she could go to for women. But for me, I didn't feel there was nothing I could, nowhere I could really go. I know there's a couple of groups out there for men, but I didn't feel like I could actually pick up the phone and do stuff and to get that help. So you kind of lock and keep it to yourself and don't say anything. And I think the mistake I made was I should have communicated with my wife a lot more, which I didn't do. We should have spoke about it more. We didn't. And part of that is I'm at fault, because I just kept stuff to myself, hoping it would go away, hoping it would disappear, like we all do sometimes. We put our head in the sand and think, when we put our head out the sand, everything is and gone. But actually, it doesn't. It stays there. You still got to deal with it. And luckily, I'm at that position now where I can start to deal with it. I can start to understand it. It's not a short process. It's going to be months and months. It might take years. I don't know. But I'm going to keep going, keep fighting, keep understanding it, because one of the biggest part is, again, why us? We've got, between us two, we've got 3 beautiful boys. Why? You start to question your faith. Or why did he do this to us? And I just still can't answer those questions. I just don't understand them, because it goes round and round and round in my head. And I'm still asking those questions. Well, why? Why us? And there's a point where you start to go, did my wife do something wrong? But she didn't. But you will question every single avenue that you think is worth questioning. Could I have done something better? Could I have made sure she didn't go to work? She put her feet up all the time. Millions of questions go around my head. And now, having counseling and starting to unlock stuff, more and more questions are definitely going around my head that I have to process. I have to unlock and get the right answers. And a lot of that is probably talking to her and having those dialogues and just saying, hey, what did you think of this? What's going through your head? Because this was going through my head at that point. But we didn't talk about it. So it just kind of sat there lingering and nothing got done. So in effect, you just kind of drift apart because nobody's talking about it. No one is doing anything about it. And sometimes by the time you understand it, it's too late. But it's always fixable. Like she said to me the other day, as we was having a conversation, she said people that have gone through bereavement, 90% or so married couples split because they can't handle it, they don't talk about it, and they go their separate ways. And it's hard because I don't want to be one of those statistics. But when she said that, I was like, oh, because actually, when it happens, if you don't get counseling and you don't deal with it then, it just kind of sticks there. And then all the other things that have gone around it just starts to fester. And everything becomes bigger. You know, little things, you could not wash the plates, and that becomes a big issue because all that anger is built up, all that tension is built up, because the grief, if it doesn't get dealt with, becomes a very, very toxic and hard thing to be able to move on from, because she either resents you for stuff or you resent her for stuff. But actually, probably if you sat down and spoke, it would been easier to kind of resolve stuff, talk about stuff, and do stuff, and just learn about stuff. And I think for my wife, she did a lot of research about everything to do with our son and gave it to me. I did a little bit of my own research, but it was hard. I think I accepted it to a degree, but not fully. It's that whole burying your head in the sand, hoping it will go away, or you will open your eyes and the doctor never said that. And it's not happening. Everything is going to be fine. But in reality, it wasn't fine. And then you kind of just go through emotions. You kind of just, it happens, you do what you need to do, you have a funeral, you just go through the motions, and then you lock it away because you don't know how to deal with it. And we have my son's ashes that is on the bedside, and I wake up to that every morning. And I look at that, that's the first thing I look at. But every morning, that's probably not good for me to be doing that, you know, but I just don't really know any way how to handle it. You know, if you look in, when I open my phone, my screensaver is of him. Is that the right thing to do? Because every day it's a reminder of what I've lost. And how do I get past that? But the biggest thing, you know, I feel blessed at the same time. I have 3 amazing, beautiful boys. So it means, you know, God has blessed me with 3 boys, but I still miss my son. And I think that grieving process I need to try and handle. But how do I handle it? You know, I feel like I have to be strong all the time. I have to put it in aside. But is it right? Is it wrong? I actually don't know. But all I know is I've started a journey through counselling that is starting to bit by bit unlock. It's hard because I have good and bad days, that a lot of things go through my mind, just shooting through my head constantly. And I have good days where I'm like, okay, with my faith, I think things happen for a reason. And I'm just blessed I've got my 3 boys. And just, I don't make the laws of the land. And it was supposed to be. And I just strongly believe that. There's that plan, God's plan, they always say. And that was his plan. So that in somehow keeps me going, but not fully. But I just wanted to share with people that feeling. I wanted to just get it out there, because I know I'm probably not the only person that's felt that way. Man, woman, even the kids that have lost brothers, their siblings. It don't matter how old your child was, stillborn, older, that feeling is still there, and it's a great loss. But that process of grieving is just hard. It's probably one of the hardest things I'm trying to deal with. And I'm glad I'm dealing with it now, because I can start to understand and unlock certain things. And I can now talk to my wife about it a little bit as time goes by. I can have those conversations with her, and hopefully we can, in the future, me and her can sit down after we both had that's counseling and stuff, and be able to have the conversation, be able to ask questions that doesn't make her feel in a certain way, or she can ask me questions that doesn't make me feel in a certain way, and just build that understanding and work on that grief together. So yeah, but it's something that I have to just understand in my own head, and it's a process that's going on that I'm going to keep, and a journey that I'm going to go on. And it's a good journey because I get to let those feelings out that I just never let out before, and understand it. And that's the biggest key, is understanding the feelings that I've got and how to start to deal with them and process them properly, because I never did that. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping, this is a journey I can share with you guys. Mums, dads, it's a journey we will go through, and hopefully we can all connect and help the healing that we all sometimes don't know how to talk about, that we, if guys or with anybody that watch this and think, I went through that, please feel free to leave me a message and I'll come back to you and we can have those conversations. It would be quite good to learn more on how other people dealt with this, because that's what we all do. We just have to learn, and that's how we grow. And hopefully we can grow from that, and I can, with my counselling and probably learning other ways that people dealt with it, as a collective, it becomes a great thing and we move on. But thank you very much, guys, for listening, and I hope we all keep learning and try to understand the whole process of grief. And hopefully all of us now, later on, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, however long it takes, we'll all get there and be in a better place. We're never going to forget. I'm never going to forget my little one, but it's a process, and it's a process that I keep going through, the good and the bad, the good days and the bad days, and I'll just see what happens. But at least I'm now starting to grow through it, and I can see it's something I should have done a long time. So yeah, on that note, thank you guys. Have a blessed evening. Be safe. And I will see you on my next podcast, which I hope to drop every Friday. God bless.